Hey guys, so here we are again with your next lot of questions. So the first one's more of a statement rather than a question, but I think you could write a book with all this information. It's actually been suggested, but no, I don't think so. Um, how do you do to be so awesome? I'm far from awesome, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. How do you look after your feet? My poor bloody feet. I actually have really tough feet. They are, they're very calloused. I don't do pedicures or anything like that. So I don't have nice, soft feet. I do condition them though, so as in I strengthen them and that sort of thing. So I do tend to, and I'm just going to show you, wear these guys quite a bit, especially on my shorter trail runs. So these are the Vibram 5 fingers, and they also come in a very pretty little dress style as well. So I do wear those quite a bit. And I do have like my favorite shoes, so that do tend to go for a minimalist type shoe, and these are my go-to, and I actually wore these for the entire down under 135 Miler, so without having to change them or anything like that. But I did have to take them off the bloody river section because it was so freaking slippery. So yeah, and they're the Cross Talon 200, so they're my absolute favorite shoes. And my feet are so tough now that I don't tend to feel rocks and shit in my shoes anymore. Poor things. But I do strength work, so like toe crawls and those sort of things to keep my feet nice and strong, and also too I wear in gingy socks, so and I find I don't get blisters or anything when I wear those. So yeah, I don't tend to suffer from blisters, thankfully. So yeah, that's probably about the best things that I do for my feet. So yeah. What gets you through a rough patch? Well, there were a couple of times where I thought, fuck, this is hard. But then I'd actually switch my brain and go, it's perceived. It's actually not that hard. Just put one foot in front of the other. Keep going forward. Yeah, forward momentum. But yeah, I'm pretty good at actually switching my brain from, like when I do think it is hard or feeling a bit, when it's feeling a bit hard to switching it to something else. So, but talking to myself, I do talk to myself quite a lot. Singing, I do a lot of singing. Skipping, I actually love skipping. And I know there was a video of me skipping at about 180k mark. So I do love to skip, and it is something that I do quite a bit of. I have actually skipped a whole event marathon before, so in a tutu, another story. But it is something I am pretty good at now. Like just switching my brain and finding something else to occupy that negative space. Me again. Hello, me again. I'd also like to know what happened to the tracker. Yes. It stopped. Thankfully, someone, I think, put up a comment that there was a live video of you finishing. So I think that was the section when I was it looked like I stopped in the river. Thankfully, I didn't stop in the bloody river, although I went arse over like 6 times really hard. And on the 7th time, I smashed my head, and it made a sickening sound on the rock. Poor Mel. I think she was really surprised at how many times I kept bloody getting back up. So the reason why it may have looked like I stopped in the river is because the cloud cover, because it was raining at that stage when I was in the river, and the vegetation cover as well. But I was in a gorge, so there was these rock cliffs either side. And I think a combination of those, the tracker was having trouble bouncing off the satellite. So that's why it looked like I stopped in the river. Thankfully, I didn't. Okay, next question. Oh God, here we go. What was in the book? Who was paying that much attention, really? But anyway, what was in the book that we saw the crew with? On the video, it mentioned a detailed course map. Did it? So does that mean you trained on the course? No, didn't train on the course. Don't have the financial funds and the luxury to go training on courses. It's not something I do tend to do. I actually do like the element of surprise when I'm competing in events. And I think mainly too, because like if I do see half this shit, I'd be too scared to go and do it. But the book, just grab the book. So here's the book. It's bound, it's got lots of scribble and shit all over it. So basically all it is rather than having like all little bits and pieces of paper floating around on, like what I like to eat, what I like to drink, all that sort of stuff. I actually put it all in a book to make it a bit easier. One thing I did do was I did actually go back a couple of weeks out and had a look at the checkpoints, or one checkpoint in particular is what I needed. Because I do use visualization a lot to help me with these events. But, and where I couldn't get my head past the checkpoint that I got pulled up at last year. So no matter how much I tried, couldn't get past it, couldn't see the finish line and that sort of thing. So I really, really struggled, like with the events of getting through that checkpoint. We did go back there and so just trying to, and having a look at the checkpoints, removing those negative thoughts and feelings that I actually had and those memories that I had attached to those checkpoints and replacing them with positive ones. So, and basically writing down, like what I actually saw there. So this one here says, like leave Blackwood Caravan Park, start at 8 a.m, Mackenzie's Flat. And when we were down there, we saw dragonflies. So I actually wrote dragonflies. So isn't that gorgeous? And I did try and remember little bits and pieces of the sections from last year, but they were all freaking scrambled up and I was completely wrong anyway. So, so here, weigh in, which turned out I didn't have to weigh in this year, and get get the tracker attached to my pack. So that sort of stuff. And hydration, nutrition, so 3 soft flasks of Tailwind and 1 soft flask of water, and what pocket I actually wanted the water in, because I didn't want to go, fishing around when my brain was fried. And that sort of thing. So, example, Lowe's Lane. I couldn't remember it as Lowe's Lane, but I do remember there was a donkey in the paddock and I had to go to the tower to sign the book, so it became Donkey Tower, that sort of thing. And the scribble, the scribble was what I would actually, what I would actually do was when I came through each section, I would yell out to the girls, like what that section was like, so that they had a bit of an idea when they were actually pacing me back through there on what to expect. And just this one here, I actually remember coming up to it and I said, whoever's pacing me through that section better jump online and order yourself a big set of kahunas. Turned out the girls didn't know what kahunas were. So, but they must have worked it out because it says need balls. Oh dear. But yeah, cliff section, unstable, bush bashing, collapsed mines. Fun. Oh dear. Oh God. And like one of the other things I'd written down here, wipe off sweat. God. So disgusting. Blood and snot and sweat. Oh dear. But yeah, so that's basically what the book was. So it was just, rather than having bits and pieces of paper floating around, that it was all bound together. But yeah, mandatory gear, which, I was straight off the website. The checkpoints, straight off the website, that sort of stuff. But yeah, troubleshooting. So, what do I, if I need a dirt nap, how many minutes to set the timer for, that sort of thing. So if I feel sick, try this, try that. Blisters, if I get blisters, try this. He's a good one. If whinging, not that I tend to, but on the off chance, please do not show me any sympathy. Only tough love. Tell me to shut the fuck up, it's not heart surgery. Oh, God. So yeah, so basically just trying to take the guesswork out of it and giving the girls a really clear plan on what I thought I might need and how to handle different situations if they ever came up. So that's what that was about. Okay, so this one's nice. Congratulations on a fantastic run, Karen. Thank you very much. You are one tough chick. Cheers. My question, if you didn't sleep, how did you train yourself to go 49 hours on your feet without sleep? Well, as you now know, I actually had 18 minutes of the most blissful, peaceful sleep of my life where I was snoring my head off. So I actually did sleep, but I didn't plan on going for 49 hours. I actually had a little bit of a goal that was a bit more ambitious about that, but as it turned out, it was 49 hours. My second goal was actually to finish at 12:30, and as it turned out, I finished at 12, so that was pretty good. And how long did you spend at aid stations? What did you do differently this year compared to last? I think we got through Lowe's in like 120 seconds or something like that, which was a new record. So that was pretty cool. But what I did differently this year was, so last year I had, I suppose the crew was probably the main difference this year. So last year I had people putting their hand up and volunteering to come and help and that sort of stuff. And I was completely overwhelmed by their generosity. And I actually hadn't realized how green they were. So it was completely my fault. But and I probably relied on them a little bit too much. So I left a lot of, I wanted them to make the decisions for me rather than me making the decisions. So the main thing I did this year was I purposely chose my crew, and I purposely chose where they were pacing and that sort of thing, according to their strengths. And and so I chose people that I knew 100% would have my back and 100% believed in that I could win this thing. And and I actually took the responsibility to look after myself and made sure that I, along with Mel, like bouncing ideas and that off her. Making sure that I took 100% responsibility for myself and troubleshooting. So letting them know exactly, coming up with different scenarios and that sort of stuff. So on how to best get through that and that sort of thing. So, that's probably the main thing. So just choosing the crew that was right for me and, taking full responsibility on making the decisions and that with every step of the way. So I think that's probably the main thing, because my training was up to shit this year, but compared to last, I tell you what, if I can get the bloody fitness and the mental strength all lined up, I'm gonna be pretty hard to beat. They're a weapon. So I think that might do. That's a nice thought, actually. So I'll see you next time. Cheers.